For today's video on our Back to School season series, we will be covering general tips of language learning. Language learning is a type of learning that benefits from intensive bursts of incremental learning. Staying in contact with the language you're learning is fundamental, and the more consistent you are with that contact, the better. Using multiple sources to conduct your learning process is particularly relevant, as you should focus on improving speaking, writing, reading, and listening skills as regularly as you can. One of the quickest ways to get into the habit of incorporating language learning into your daily routine is taking short quizzes every day to build up on your knowledge. If you want a fast and free way to do this, all you have to do is install Duolingo on your phone. If you have followed me for a while, you know I have been praising Duolingo for years as one of the best free online tools to learn languages. They are partnering with me today to tell you more about Duolingo events and Duolingo stories, two incredible tools that you can use to develop your skills. Duolingo is an app that lets you test your language skills on a tree format. You play various levels that test you on vocabulary, speaking, and listening skills. You increase the learned number of words each level, and as you play, you also revise past words and expressions. You can then complement this type of learning with Duolingo stories, which are sets of mini stories that challenge your reading and listening comprehension. As you complete the stories, new sets are unlocked as you build up on your fluency. If you want to explore your language learning even further, you can attend one of the hundreds of Duolingo events. These are events or conferences focused on certain languages and are held all over the world. You can meet people like you who are focusing on learning one language, and as you do so, you can explore your language learning even further. To know more about all of this, you can find tons of information about Duolingo in the description box below. I find that I get the most out of language learning when I combine multiple sources to build up my knowledge. For instance, I used to listen to language audiobooks when I used to commute to law school. I also rely on a couple of textbooks with reading and writing exercises, and I like to keep a few short stories on my iPad and read at least a couple of paragraphs daily so I can stay on track. Building habits is key to mastering your language skills. Saving at least half an hour daily to go through the things you have been learning is fundamental to make sure you keep on track. Of course that you can make this slot of time more fun by watching movies or videos in the foreign language you're learning, reading short stories, or practicing with a friend. The trick is to keep contact with that language every day so you can almost unconsciously start to use it in your daily life. It's also important to focus on vocabulary you will actually use instead of memorizing word lists in your textbooks. By focusing on words that interest you because they're applied in your daily life, you form an intellectual and emotional connection with the learning process and end up remembering those words much better. Although this is debatable and depends on who you ask, I believe that waiting until you get perfect at the language before speaking it is a mistake. Some learners, such as Benny Lewis from Fluent in 3 months, share that they aim to make tons of mistakes when speaking, and they speak from the first day they start learning a new language. Using some basic vocabulary and grammar with confidence is more beneficial to the process than hesitating and end up producing a complex sentence after investing in that language for some months. In fact, speaking from day one allows them to use other sources, like grammar and vocabulary books, to improve their speaking and not to allow them to speak. It's also a mistake to think that you need to go to language school to learn a language. Although attending group classes can be beneficial to some, they can certainly hinder the learning pace of other people. The choice of taking classes or not depends on your budget, your time availability, and also your self-discipline. The choice of having a teacher who speaks the foreign language also depends on whether you are currently immersed in that language or not, or whether you have a friend, a partner, or an acquaintance with whom you can speak in that foreign language. For me, I benefited from taking a few classes when I started learning German because I had absolutely no contact with that language, so having a German teacher and listening to him speak, and also being forced to speak in class, helped me pass that first language barrier. I'm now able to study German at home, although I also admit it's far more difficult to do just because of my own self-discipline when learning the language. Learning more than one language at a time can also be a huge mistake for some people. If you find yourself consistently confusing grammar rules and vocabulary between two or more languages you are learning, perhaps you should avoid thinning yourself out and instead giving the deserved attention to each language until you feel comfortable to start learning another one. Language learners usually recommend jumping to another language only when you reach an intermediate or higher level in your current language. For an easier jump, opting for a language from the same language tree makes the process far more undemanding. This was the fourth video in my Back to School series, and just like I did last year, I'll be providing the schedule for all the videos you might expect during this summer, plus a few unannounced bonus videos and surprise giveaways that may pop up any day of the week. If you want to stay in touch, it is very important to subscribe and click the bell button to get notified whenever there's a surprise giveaway or a freebie coming up in a new video. For even more bonus content, I'll be posting study tips on my Instagram and a new blog post up on my website each Sunday. I hope you've enjoyed today's video and I'll see you next week. Bye!